This is our third lesson of Grow, Prepare, Eat. I know it's a little bit different because normally Miss Daniel teaches, but Miss Harrison here, and I'm going to be teaching today's lesson, so I'm very excited. I'm hoping to hear a lot of your thoughts and opinions. Okay? So here's the outline for today. First, we'll start, as always, we'll start by reviewing our hands-on activity. So for this one, it was the flavor texture activity. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Then next, we'll talk about nutrition of fruit. Nutrition might be a familiar word, and it might be a little unfamiliar. You might not have heard it before, so we'll review a bunch of that. Intro to knife skills, because our next hands-on activity is making a fruit recipe. So we want to prepare you to make that recipe. Everything's been building up to this point. You've learned what flavors you like, you've learned what textures you like, what combinations you like together. Now you get to make a recipe. Who's excited for that? Thumbs up.
Me.
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about the hands-on activity. First question, how did it go trying out the different flavor and texture combinations? Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? Anyone want to share something about that? Yeah, 9 and 10, go ahead.
We thought it was really fun.
Awesome. What part did you like about it? 9 and 10.
What?
Which part did you like about it? Was there like a favorite part of the activity?
Like the sour?
Cool. So you like the sour. Awesome. Some people say most of it was disgusting. So you learned what you don't like in this activity. You still learned something, right? 12, did you want to share something? Go ahead.
I really liked it.
Nice. I love to hear that.
The most thing I liked was when I tried the strawberries and dipped in honey. It was so good.
That sounds delicious. I see 34's hand up. 34, you want to share?
I liked it because you got to try different foods. My favorite combination was cucumber and maple syrup.
Ooh, very creative. Awesome. So that kind of leads into my next question. What foods did you use? What did you use for each flavor? Anyone want to volunteer what they used for each flavor, what they used as a dipping food? You can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. 12, go ahead.
I used the dipping foods I used were honey, lime juice, vinegar, and salt.
Nice choices. See, some people said they used an almond. They used chips to dip. They used carrots to dip. Let's see, 39 and 40. Did you have a little bit of trouble getting on Class Dojo?
Yeah, they said that they didn't have the code, and that's my fault. I didn't think that it would expire before our next class, so I'm actually gonna give everyone the new code right now, so that we have it, so you guys can get right back into Class Dojo. So the new code, I just put it into the chat, is RQBCFV. RQBCFV.
So moving on, another question. I think we touched on this a little bit, but favorite flavor combinations. So we heard someone say cucumber and maple syrup, right? That was a good one. Strawberries and what was it, 12? Strawberries and was it honey? I think that's what it was. Yeah. Those sound awesome. Anyone else have really good combinations they discovered? Or bad ones they discovered? I'd like to hear about those too. Bananas and melted chocolate ice cream. That sounds great. Chips and maple syrup sounds good too.
The bad foods I tasted were strawberries and salt.
So not a fan of that one? Anyone else? Oh, almonds with melted chocolate with lemon juice. That sounds very complicated. Was that a good one or a bad one? I have a guess, but maybe I'll be surprised. It was very good. Oh, wow.
I am.
Surprised.
11 saying they didn't like apple and salt. Yeah, I can see how that might not be good. Sometimes the sweet and salty combo works really well, and other times it like fails pretty miserably. It's interesting, right? What we find like and don't like.
Okay, last question. How might you use those favorite flavor combinations in recipes? Since now we're kind of moving on to making recipes. Maybe you discovered that you really like sweet and salty. Maybe you discovered you like sweet and sour. How can you put that into a recipe? Maybe you don't have an answer right now, but you can start to think about that. 53 said, I didn't like anything with salt. So maybe that's not your favorite flavor. Maybe you like other tastes instead. So you can think about that when you make recipes too. Anyone have something to share or something to think about maybe? Awesome. Okay, so let's move on. Who has heard of the word nutrition? Does that ring a bell? I see some hands. Maybe like this if you think you've heard of it, but you're not really sure what it means. Yeah. Sometimes you've heard a word before, but you couldn't really say what it means. It rings a bell, but has anyone never heard that word before? Someone said it means healthy. Nutrition definitely has to do with health, for sure. 53 said a balanced diet, definitely. A balanced diet is very nutritious and healthy. Means something with nutrients, definitely. So nutrients are kind of like the puzzle pieces of nutrition.
Maybe like healthy?
Yeah, definitely has a part in that. 30, it means what you eat and how to keep it balanced, the different food groups, right. 18, nice healthy foods and tasty. It has vitamins. Vitamins are definitely a part of that. We'll go into that. So it seems like a lot of you have a good idea of maybe like the themes and the different parts of nutrition. So let's see my definition. So nutrition, just like you all said, it's all about different foods and what they do for your body, right? So that's a pretty vague definition, but nutrition can be very specific. And it has a lot of things in play, a lot of puzzle pieces. So let's think about what nutrients are in fruits. So what are kind of the building blocks of fruits? So what are the different parts? What are the building blocks?
I think skin.
Yes, a lot of fruits have a skin or a peel on it. That's definitely part of it. And I see in the chat people say sugar, flavor, acid. Right, those are all parts of fruits. Juice, definitely. So let's go a little bit more in depth on what nutrients are in fruits. First one that I have is fiber. Has anyone heard of fiber? I see a yes. I see a thumbs up. Maybe again like a wishy-washy hand like this, not really sure what it means. Okay, let's see. What is fiber? So fiber comes from plants and it helps to keep our digestive system and heart healthy. And fiber looks like those peels and those skins on fruits that you mentioned before. Those have a lot of fiber, right? 12, good job. It's also kind of the things that give plants their structure. So when we eat plants, there's parts that we don't digest. So they kind of just go right through and they give the plant structure. And those are usually fiber. So if you think about like the strings of celery that has fiber, things like that. Does that make sense to everybody? And Miss Daniel mentioned something great in our morning session, that foods with more fiber can make you feel full for longer. And that's because all of that structure, it takes up room in your stomach, and then it makes it take longer to digest. So the food hangs out in your stomach for longer, so you don't get that empty stomach as quick. So it's great to add in plant foods with fiber so you feel full for longer, so your digestive system is happy, and so your heart is healthy. So there's a lot of benefits, even though fiber might seem boring at first.
53 says, wow. I think so. I'm super impressed with how plants fill us up, the different parts. Super cool.
Yep. Next nutrient, maybe you've heard of this one. Vitamins. Who wants to take a stab at what a vitamin is, or what you think it might be?
A vitamin? I think it's basically like that keeps you from getting sick.
Yeah, vitamins definitely help our body. Some of them even help to keep our immune system healthy, and we'll talk more about the immune system in a little bit. Anyone else want to share?
Well, vitamins have fiber nutrients in them. It helps our body and it helps us grow because it's in different fruits. And mostly vegetables and fruits have them in them. That's why we should be eating them.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a big benefit of fruits and vegetables. They usually have a lot of different vitamins. They said vitamin C, right? Vitamin D, vitamin B. So, right, vitamins are usually labeled with like a letter. So it's like vitamin A, B, C, D, like the alphabet. And there's a lot of different ones. Prescriptions. I don't think you're usually prescribed vitamins. Usually you can buy them without a prescription, but it's always good to do research before you get them.
Someone also said
And some
in the
people,
chat that
Mhm.
vitamins are good for your body, which is so true.
Does anyone take vitamins? Maybe you take multivitamins in the morning. Yeah, I see some hands. So that just means there's a whole lot of different vitamins packed in there. Okay, so let's see what I have for vitamins. So like I said, there's a lot of different ones, and each one does a special job in your body. So I like to think of them because they're so tiny. And a vitamin, it's not usually like a big piece of bread that you eat. It's really tiny, and it's kind of hidden in the plants and the foods that you eat. So I think of it like the little sidekicks. They're so important, and our body needs them for a lot of different jobs, but they're also tiny. So they're kind of like the sidekicks. So an example of one of them, I think someone named it vitamin C. So vitamin C's superpower is that it helps to heal your body from cuts and scrapes, right? So that's just one vitamin. A lot of people named a lot of other ones. Next nutrient, water. Who knew water was a nutrient? Kind of surprising. Does anyone know what water is important for?
Water is for staying hydrated.
Super important for that. What happens without water?
We wouldn't be healthy and our bones wouldn't be strong.
Yeah.
Weak.
Yeah, we would feel really weak. When you're dehydrated, when you don't have enough water, you feel really tired. You can't maybe exercise as much. Definitely. Yeah, we need water to live. We would not last very long without water.
You might die of thirst.
You would get really thirsty without it.
Oh, there's still juice, which also, well, I just realized every liquid comes from water.
Yeah. And maybe like pure water has all water in it, whereas juice has some water, some vitamins, some sugar, different things in there. So the wonderful thing about fruit is that a lot of fruits are full of water. So you ever take a big bite of juicy fruit and the juice goes all down and you're like, oh my gosh, that's because it's full of water. So fruit not only has all those other wonderful nutrients like fiber and vitamins, also has water in there to hydrate you. 53, yes, good. Milk does have water in it. Our next one, carbohydrates. Who has heard of carbohydrates? Thumbs up if you have. Thumbs down if it doesn't sound familiar. See a thumbs down. One thumbs up. I think we're not too sure about carbohydrates. Kind of a long word. Maybe you've heard it called carbs for short. Sometimes people say just carbs, not carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are just another type of nutrient, another type of food building blocks. And carbohydrates provide your body with energy. So you can move around and exercise and do all the things that you have to do throughout the day. So carbohydrates usually come from things like whole grains, stuff with sugar in it. Sugar is a type of carb. Things like that. So like pasta, bread, crackers, fruits. Vegetables have some carbs in them. I love carbs.
Me too.
And that's like the main source of energy for your body. That's the easiest source of energy for your body. So that's why sometimes you might hear if someone's going to run a long marathon or do something involving a lot of energy, maybe they'll carb load. They'll eat some pasta the night before, or they'll eat a lot of carbs before to save some energy for the next day. That sound familiar to anyone? Yeah, I see some head nods. Awesome. So now that we've learned about some of the nutrients in fruits in general, let's narrow in on some of the fruits we've been talking about. So we've been talking about melons, right? Let's look at why they're special and a whole section of their own among fruits. What nutrients are in melons? Let's see. So one of the vitamins, vitamin A. Melons, especially cantaloupe and honeydew, are full of vitamin A. And vitamin A's superpower sidekick job is to maintain the health of skin, eyes, and the immune system. So vitamin A does a whole lot in your body. But first, let's check. Has anyone heard of the immune system? Anyone want to take a stab at it? What do you think the immune system means? 39 and 40 say I don't know, and that's okay. We'll go over it. So the immune system is kind of like the shield for your body. So your immune system is the one that protects, exactly 53, it protects you. So it protects you from sickness, protects you from anything that might find its way in your body that shouldn't be there. So I like to think of it like they're the bodyguards. The immune system's like your bodyguard. So vitamin A helps with your immune system. Another reason to eat melons. Immune system, yeah, it helps you keep from getting sick by viruses. It protects you. Definitely, super relevant too. Another one, potassium. Potassium is another super important one. Now potassium's job is it helps to keep your muscles, your heart, and your fluid regulation healthy. So fluid regulation just means how much water is in your body. So like we were talking about hydration earlier, potassium plays into that. It helps to keep you hydrated and not too much water and not too little water. And it helps with your muscles and your heart. Potassium kind of keeps everything balanced. And cantaloupe and honeydew, they tend to have more potassium than watermelon. Vitamin C. We talked about vitamin C a little bit earlier. Helps with cuts and scrapes. And it also helps with immune function. So that's why I put the strong arm there, because vitamin C, it plays a lot into keeping us healthy and protecting us. And the last one, water. Melons are full of water, and you can see I wrote there, watermelons are 92% water. That's almost 100%. So think about that. When you're cutting into a watermelon, that's like almost all water in there. That's a lot. Can you think of any other fruits that might be high in water?
Miss Harrison, I can think of a vegetable. Am I allowed to say that one too, or just a fruit?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I can think of cucumbers. They're pretty high in water.
Definitely. Let's see what people are saying. Tomatoes, celery, apples, orange, peaches. Yeah, so the ones that are like super juicy.
Beanies.
Zucchini, yeah. Zucchini and squash, they tend to have a good amount of water in there too.
Maybe strawberries.
Yeah, I can see strawberries having some water in there for sure.
Do people like these different foods that have a lot of water in them? Do you guys like them or not? Yeah, I see some thumbs up. I love
Nice.
good juicy fruit or vegetable. One of my favorites.
Pineapple, yeah, pineapple probably has a good amount of water in there too. Okay, awesome. So now that we've kind of dived into nutrition a little bit, I'm so excited because nutrition is my favorite to learn about. So I'm happy that you kind of like learning about it too. We are going to go on to knife skills because our next at-home activity is making a recipe, and that might involve you using a knife. So we want to make sure we prepare you for that as much as possible so you can be safe and also enjoy it. So let me start by asking, who has used a knife in the kitchen before? Thumbs up if you've used one. Yeah, hands. Nice. So I see 9 and 10 have. 34, 29. And some others, yep. And if you haven't, that's totally okay because I'm going to give an overview and we'll show you a video about how to use knives safely. So someone learned how in Girl Scouts. That's awesome. Seems like they taught you well. People make salad and sausages.
Someone said they use knives when they make lunch with their mom. That's awesome.
I'm sure she appreciates your help too. That probably means a lot. So 39 and 40, are you maybe a little bit anxious, a little nervous you might cut yourself? That's totally normal. It can be a little bit daunting, a little scary at first when you use knives in the kitchen, but that's why I'm going to share with you some tips. So we'll take it slow, okay? And if you ever feel uncomfortable, then just take a step back, and you don't have to do if you're uncomfortable, okay?
Or you can go get an adult to help you with what you are nervous about.
Okay, so here's my tips. 1, always have adult supervision, especially if you're just starting out with knives, because they can give you even more tips, because they'll actually be there with you watching. So if they say, oh, okay, try to hold the knife like this, is a little easier. Or, hey, cut it like this instead of like whatever, you know, they can help you because they've probably used a knife a lot more than you have. Awesome. I love to see people who maybe already know how to use a knife and they help out in the kitchen. Your family must be so happy that you help. Another tip. Cut on a smooth and stable surface like a cutting board. It's a lot easier to cut things and to stay in control when it's on a flat, smooth surface. It's harder to cut things on like a bowl where it's curved and things might move and slip around. A smooth surface like a cutting board, or if you don't have a cutting board, a plate, that's probably the best place to do this. Does anyone have a cutting board that you know of? Maybe you don't know, maybe you can ask an adult. Yeah, see some hands. That's a good tool to have. But if you don't have a cutting board, just find a plate that's smooth and stable and it won't move around when you try to cook. And last tip, do the bear claw.
Ooh, she's making it. She's making the shape with her hand. Nice, 29. Good job.
Nice. Ooh, look at that. So we have some people who might know what this means already. But if you don't know, don't worry. I'll explain now, okay? The bear claw technique, it's a technique for knife safety, once again. So it's a way to hold whatever you're cutting to avoid cutting your fingers. So when you maybe hold something like this and you have your knife here, you could come down and cut yourself by accident. But when you make that bear claw, the knife kind of is like right next to your fingers, so you're not going to cut. So if you look at the pictures here, I kind of walk through it step by step. So first, you make a claw shape with your non-dominant hand. So you have your hand that holds the knife. That's usually the one that you write with, the one that you do most things with. That's the one you hold the knife with. Whichever one you're not holding the knife with is going to make a claw shape like this. Then you use that claw to hold whatever you're cutting. So you see in that picture there, I'm holding the lemon with my claw. And do you see how the knife, it's not like on top of my fingers, it's right next to them. So you see how you cut like this? Oops, I just brushed my fingers, but I didn't cut them. So that's kind of a way that this protects you. Your knife is never going to come down on your fingers if you're doing the claw. It might just brush against them. So you're less likely to cut yourself or make a mistake that way. Is anyone a little bit confused by this? That's okay, because you might be hearing this for the first time. See some head shakes, which makes sense. And if maybe before you do the activity, you want a refresher, part of the activity is to watch a video about this technique. So they'll show you again. So you'll hear it a couple of times before you actually go in the kitchen and cut. So let me explain the activity, because I hope that you're excited. I know this is a class that seems to like to cook or be excited about cooking. So now you get that chance. Who's excited? Yes? Yay! Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it. So let me tell you what you're going to do. So first, you're going to watch some videos. So you'll watch that knife skill video that I just talked about that shows you the bear claw technique, so you can be safe. And then you'll watch a video of the recipe that you're going to make. So you actually have options this time. So you have 2 recipes you can make. The first one is a baked apples recipe. So you'll cut up some apples, you'll add some different spices and flavors, and then you'll cook it for a little bit. And then it's like a nice warm dessert. So that's one option. The other option is an activity called Fruit 2 Ways. And I actually made a video about this one with a little demo in it to help you along with the activity. But basically, it's kind of similar to the flavor texture activity that we did before. So if you liked that one, this might be a cool activity for you. But you're basically mixing different flavors with fruits and then seeing what you think about it. So those are your 2 options, Fruit 2 Ways or baked apples. So either way, you'll watch the knife skills video Then you'll watch the recipe video. And then, what do you think you do? Make the recipe. Now it's finally time. So now you're actually going to do it. So you'll make the recipe, making sure you keep in mind all of those safety tips in your head. Make sure you have adult supervision with you. You can refer back to the videos, maybe watch it again, pause it, watch it again. And then once you're done, you'll take a video or a picture, whichever one you prefer, whichever one's easiest for you, and you upload it to Class Dojo. So that's how you get your participation points, and that's how you share what you did with me and Miss Daniel, because we want to see what you make.
Do you already have to watch the video if you know the bear claw?
I would say it'd be helpful. It'd be helpful for you to review. And it's not very long at all. It's like maybe a minute or two. So I would suggest it. I think it's a very helpful video. And it helps to hear it from another person how to do it.
I don't have any apples.
Okay, do you have other types of fruits?
Well, we're going to the grocery store today, so.
Yeah. So maybe you can talk to whoever does the grocery shopping, and maybe once you take a look at the videos and you decide which recipe you want to make, you can say, hey, can we maybe pick up some apples at the grocery store, please? If not, you can probably improvise and see what other kind of fruits you have around the house.
So, Miss Harrison, I'm seeing a bunch of friends mentioning that their cantaloupe and watermelon and other plants have sprouted. Maybe do you have just a minute to let friends talk about that if they want to?
Oh, yes, please. That sounds so cool.
My little watermelon that I showed you guys when I made the video, I started my little plant seeds in the the half-gallon water bottle. They started to sprout yesterday too, which was exciting.
Nice. Oh, wow, I see it.
Oh my gosh! So exciting!
So tiny and green, poking out of the soil.
Oh, and look at 34s. There's 2 little baby sprouts. Amazing. You guys are taking
They're so cute.
such good care of your plants. Let's see. Wow!
Wow.
Those sprouts. Amazing. You guys are doing such a good job. I love watching plants as they first start to grow. It's like the most exciting thing because all of a sudden your little pot of soil has been looking brown and the same and very uneventful for days, and then all of a sudden, poof, there's life, and it sprouts out of those seeds. It's super cool. 017 says same. Feel the same way?
Haven't sprouted yet.
Okay. When did you plant them? How many days ago?
The same day, as soon as I got the assignment. Okay. The first assignment.
What kind of seeds did you plant?
I planted peppers, and my dad said to put 3 in each hole.
Okay, so pepper seeds take a little longer to start than cantaloupe seeds, so keep waiting. You didn't do anything wrong. They just take a little longer. So keep waiting, okay?
Nice. So some of us might need a little bit longer for the sprouts to show, but be patient. I'm sure they'll sprout up and you'll be so excited. So our last part of the lesson is the exit ticket. So to wrap up, first, please share one new idea you learned about today. So you can either unmute yourself and talk about it. You can type it into the chat. If you wanted to draw a picture about what you learned or write something down and hold it up to the camera, you can do that. But just either way, share one new idea you learned today.
Today I learned about bear claw. I didn't even know.
Awesome. I'm so glad you learned a new trick. 39 and 40 said that milk has water in it. Right. A lot of liquids, most liquids have water in them. 29 learned that carbs is short for carbohydrate. Right. It's like a little short nickname for them. Let's see other ideas in the chat. So 18 got some inspiration from people about what combinations to do in the tasting activity. That's awesome. That's why we talk about these things, so you can learn from each other. More about the bear claw. One last part. Show us how you do the bear claw technique. So what should I be doing with my hands to make the bear claw? Right. Wow, we all look ferocious. Yes, exactly right. Good. So that's the hand you use to hold down whatever you're cutting. Just like that claw, it comes down and holds. Wonderful. Okay, well, you guys have it under control. You got it. I'm not worried at all.
Pictures in my garden.
Yes, please. Oh, here we go. It's sunny outside.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a beautiful garden.
Very nice. That's inspiring. I keep wanting to start a garden. Right now I have some little pots of plants. That's my next goal.
Your garden looks so beautiful and happy. What a green oasis back there.
Okay, well, thank you so much for showing us that. I think we're ready to wrap up this class for today. Thank you so much for yet another amazing, exciting, engaged class. I love seeing your faces and hearing what you have to say and hearing how the activities went. It makes me so excited. And we'll see you again on Thursday. Okay? So until then, if you have any other questions or anything, you can feel free to stick around, but we'll say goodbye for now to everyone else, and we'll see you on Thursday.